Hi everyone, it's Alex here from Being Out of Balance. I am very excited to have both Kelly and Britt here with me today, who are lovely midwives and birth educators from She Births. They are going to be sharing all their wisdom what you guys can do to take all of those tips and tools that we would normally see and learn about in our birth education classes into your birth environment, no matter where that is. So welcome to you both.
Thank you.
How you going?
You've got a little one on your knee, Britt.
I know. I have to apologise if you hear some moaning.
No, don't apologise.
Little Sari, she's 5 months old, and she's just decided that she doesn't want to sleep at the moment, so she's on my lap.
Keeping us on our toes. All good. So I thought we might start just by touching on some of the things your dads and other support people to kind of take into the birth with them. I know that there's a lot of mums contacting us at the moment in a bit of a panic, not knowing whether they're going to be able to continue taking their support people into their birth space, and knowing that some of them are being limited as to who can come to their prenatal appointments and things like that. So take it away. What are your kind of top things that you would suggest going forward from there?
So I guess the best thing that we can do now is, because we're really restricted on who can come in to our classes or who can come into our appointments and into the actual birth itself. So our number one thing now is to make you dads into doulas. So there's a couple of different ways that we can do that. So you can actually do that by jumping online and doing an online course like She Births, which is what we teach anyway.
And virtual now, aren't they? They've all been put online, so you can be at home. Doesn't matter what the restrictions are, whether you're self-isolating or not, you can kind of access all of that stuff too.
Absolutely. I'm still teaching from home, so I've got a class that's booked in for not this weekend but the next weekend, and I'll be hopefully shaping a few more daddy doulas out there.
Awesome. And so for those who don't know, what is a doula? We take that for granted a little bit, what we consider our normal, I suppose. What would you classify a doula as?
So doula is a birth support person, basically. So obviously a doula that you're paying for is trained specifically in looking after women in labour. You can get postpartum doulas now as well to help look after you after you have the baby. So basically, we're wanting to train dads up to be as professional as doulas. So, obviously your partners are your best support people because they know you through and through. So, and can, make it unique for you guys. So we're all about, I guess, giving dads a toolkit that they can go into the labour room and use on their partners to help them support them getting through labour, because we can't have the professional doulas at the moment, which is such a shame. But daddies can be just as good.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear. So what are kind of the top things? I know you mentioned having a toolkit. So what are the tools, I suppose, that we would put in our toolkit for our daddy doulas to have them well educated and supported going into a birth?
I think number one's massage. Absolutely. So if you can support your partner through massage, absolutely. We can then convert that pain into pleasure, and it actually, helps women cope for so much longer. So that would be my number one. Absolutely. Britt?
Practice with the massage too, guys. Practice makes perfect. I would say I think it's a real mix. I know from my experience when I had my girls, it is such a mentally challenging, we talk about it's like running a marathon while walking a labyrinth in your mind. So obviously preparing physically and having things like massage, rebozo, acupressure all work really well, but then also doing lots of meditation. And when we're talking about meditation, it's not just the women doing it, it's the partners, they're doing it together, which, we're isolated. So it's the perfect time to be doing it. Because if the woman loses focus, you need the dads to be feeling almost exactly the same and being in that same kind of space so that they can bring them back and get them back onto that focus of getting through that
partnership kind of thing going on. Yeah.
Exactly. So doing meditations together, and, it's all about rehearsal. You wouldn't, if you were running a marathon, you wouldn't just go into it cold turkey, would you? You would have practice and practice. And that's the same with labour and birth. You need to be doing these things at home, practicing for the big day so that they all come as second nature.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. And so in terms of resources and things like that, for obviously you guys have got your She Birth stuff that's all online that people can access, and there's interactive webinars on our site, and there's heaps of stuff going around. I suppose one of the big things would be to be really careful who you're taking this information off at the moment, because things are just spreading like wildfire and everyone's now online, which is a really good time in terms of accessing information, but can also, we can start to have those maybe not so safe options pop up as well. So making sure that you're getting those really high quality resources. But have you guys got other resources that you regularly suggest to parents to be, dads, mums, all that sort of thing?
Yeah, we do. We tend to refer a lot of our women or couples off to health professionals that we are in contact with on a daily basis in the local area. We've also been able to resource out, clearly we're based in Geelong, so we've been able to resource out to Melbourne as well, as we've got contacts up there. So if anybody needs anybody, whether it's, even in Sydney, we've got contacts up there, in Queensland too. So I guess the best thing to do would be to talk to one of us, talk to your midwife, talk to your obstetrician, and they can lead you in, the right path to seek the right advice.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, and probably safeguards you a little bit in regard to, everyone that's popping up online at the moment who maybe is not quite as experienced or educated around this sort of thing.
The other thing is, I guess, just being really mindful of what you're watching and, on TV, or whether at the moment we're having a lot of screen time because we've got the time to do it. And there is a lot to say about watching negative images. So if you're watching something that isn't how you imagine your birth to be, and you find it's having a negative, like a fear factor, and you don't watch it, anything negative imprints on us so much more than positive. So we want to be feeding ourselves with positive imagery, positive information around birth. Things like Australian Birth, the podcast, that's a really, really good one.
Birth stories?
Yes, that's the one. Listen to a lot of positive stories, looking at positive kind of videos. YouTube have some really great ones. They also have some terrible ones. So just be very mindful of what your mind's doing when you're watching them. And if it's doing the wrong things, then switch it off. We're also really lucky on the She Birth website. We've actually got a heap of freebies on there at the moment. So you can jump on there and get free meditations, and we've got a list of resources on there that you can access at home online. And then obviously we have the paid courses and classes as well. So definitely get on and have a look. But yeah, lots of freebies at the moment. We're just trying to give as much as we can to make all of this, the circumstances at the moment as positive as it can be.
And we'll share
Vimeo. Sorry, you can even access the Vimeo account. If anyone's got a Vimeo account out there, all you have to do is just log on and register for anything to do with birthing stories, and you'll get lots of different videos that way too.
Nice. That's a really good idea. Yeah. And I think on the birth videos and things like that as well, we shared a couple of weeks back that Why Not Home, which are more specific to home birth, they're actually airing their film on YouTube for free at the moment, which is amazing. So again, we'll put all those resources in this post once we're finished recording and chatting away. So other than that, like we've kind of spoken about preparing dad for birth and those support people. What else would you suggest, maybe more for mum, in the lead up to birth, particularly because at the moment we're kind of going, can't go to our birth classes and learn in that face-to-face capacity anymore. There's a whole lot of things that are changing, so people's plans are kind of changing. What would you guys suggest around that?
I'd stay active at home, absolutely. I would be doing, just get some yoga and some meditation happening. Hit the pavement, go for a walk, get out to nature. Like if you can, if you're close to the beach, if you're close to a local recreational park or anything like that, get yourself out there, clear your head. you can clear your mind, you'll actually clear the rest of your body as well. So that would be my number one to do. What do you think, Britt?
Yeah, I'd be doing lots of yoga, and yoga was a godsend to me when I was pregnant with my little girls. There's so many amazing pregnancy yogas online, just on YouTube. She Births have one as well. Nadine does a beautiful, nice long one, which we'd be recommending you kind of do 2 to 3 times a week. And as I said, I think just get used to your home environment and start learning your body, what feels good and what doesn't. So like, some women love jumping in the shower, and if that feels good when you're pregnant, most likely it's going to feel good when you're in labor as well. So those kind of comfort measures, heat packs, showers, baths, those kinds of things, just start to learn and feel your body. And, pregnancy, especially towards the end when it can be hard yards and feel quite uncomfortable. So start exploring that and finding ways that make you feel more comfortable, and then implement that into your birth preferences, and obviously get your partner on board so that he knows to suggest these things in labour. I think that and the meditation and starting to calm the mind. I mean, I know at the moment, just having the TV with the news on, it's just a total adrenaline rush. Every time the news is on, the anxiety levels go up. We don't want that. We know adrenaline is the number one enemy of birth. We don't want adrenaline. You won't labour if you've got too much adrenaline going on. So you really need to turn the TV off, get into watching those good, feel-good things, watch funny movies, those kinds of things, anything that makes you feel happy and a bit, get those butterflies in your tummy. That's good. That's oxytocin, and that's what we want. So really trying to those measures.
Yeah, and I think we've got all this time now. We've got no excuses whatsoever to not be learning about our bodies and kind of going inward and working out what is good for us, what isn't, what do we like, what do we not like, all of those things. So like you said, it's a really good opportunity to start going, okay, do I like a bath? Does that make me want to scream at someone? Like, is it, where does that fit for me? So
yeah, and I think, there's been a lot of things going around social media and stuff saying that it's, a terrible time for pregnant women. But if you actually spin it into a positive, we've never had this amount of time to ourselves, being at home. It's a positive thing. Like back 100 years ago, this is what we would do. We weren't working, or we were at home creating a home, and now we've got that opportunity to do that again. So really explore. And I know it'll feel strange. We're not used to it. We're so used to being, doing everything, working and running a household and being a mother, but so we really should be cherishing this time. And as you said, learning your body, practicing for birth, meditating, just relaxing and resting, which we just don't get to do. It's truly a blessing. If you can ignore all the other stuff that's going on, you're safe at home. So just stay at home, do what you can that makes you feel good, and prepare for birth. Becoming a mother, it's a huge thing.
The other thing to bring you, to back to your grounding is to do some home cooking.
Yeah, yeah.
So many people don't cook. They literally will go out and they get their meals from anywhere else. We now have the time that we can, get back to basics and make a good bone broth even. Like, those whole
postpartum as well. Like, such a good idea for postpartum. Checking the foods I have ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess that's the other thing is diet is a huge factor. Preparing, like it's literally a holistic approach to preparing to birth. So diet is one of those massive factors. So start to do your research into, what's good for birth and what's not in terms of what you're putting in your mouth, and especially postpartum as well, because it can affect you mentally as well. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. No, I think that's so good. Tell me a little bit, I know something with speaking with you both, something that you guys kind of refer to in terms of making plans about birth and making sure you've got all your options is this acronym. Is that the right word, acronym? I think it's the right word. We're going to go with acronym, brand. So tell me about that, because we spoke on our last or one of our last videos that we did with Karen from Birth and Baby Village about having a birth plan and how important that is, particularly at the moment, because if you don't know what options you have, you can't really, make educated decisions no matter what path that birth takes and what it looks like. So how does the brand's acronym really fit into that? Because I really like this idea.
Sure. Brand is probably one of my favorite things to use with couples coming through who don't know how to talk to a medical professional. So I guess whenever anything arises, you come to a crossroads and you need to ask questions, but you don't know which questions to ask, this is the perfect acronym to use. So B for brand, so we want benefits. What are they? Like, what am I going to get out of this? R is for risks. So what are the risks involved if I go ahead with what you want to do? A is for alternatives. So is there any opposite or any alternative measures that we could, use to keep going forward? N is for nothing. So what happens if I do nothing? Like, is this going to be more beneficial for me? Is it going to steer me in the right steed to, keep moving as well? And then D is for, pretty much time to discuss and decide. So that health professional should always give you at least 5 minutes for yourselves to have a conversation and say, well, this is what they've laid out. What do we want to do going forward? What are we comfortable in doing? So they should always give you the time to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's so good. I'm going to pop that in our little comment section as well so that people can refer to that, because it is such a confronting time to have to be making some of these decisions, particularly if you're a first-time mum and you've not experienced this whole setting before even. So having something like that to refer back to and go, right, where do I fit in amongst all of this is really handy.
And so knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So, even though birth classes aren't going ahead face-to-face, it is really, really vital that couples are doing something. So online classes are, they're not as hands-on and you still get so much information out of it. And I know with us teaching online virtually, especially with a live course, you've still got the interaction of other couples. You still feed off each other. We're still getting on the floor doing, all the things, the ribos on things, acupressure that we teach usually. We've just got to learn, ways to teach with our mouths. But it's so vital. Don't just give up and say, well, birth classes aren't going ahead and I don't want to do it virtually. Give it a go, because knowledge is power. And if you've got that knowledge, then you can advocate for the beautiful birth that you want.
Yeah, totally. And if nothing else, I think it kind of gives you and your partner, whoever that may be, a bit of an opportunity to discuss things as well, because sometimes we just kind of, life gets busy and we don't, it's not something that you sit down and discuss over dinner normally. What sort of birth you want, this is something that you kind of have to put aside and make sure that you prioritize. So it's important to have that facilitating conversation and environment.
And it is a whole, there's a whole aspect, we do, focus on birth, but parenting's the longest and hardest road. Like birth compared to parenting, easy, trust me. So having those conversations with your partner in this time about how you want to parent and values that you've gotten from your family life, and because they're going to be different. So we know that stronger family bonds are built with people that are with couples that are on the same page. So it's really important to have those discussions around pregnancy, birth, and afterwards as well, that whole parenting journey.
Yeah, and that would really ring true for you, Kelly, with your training as a maternal child health nurse, I'm sure. You see families after birth and kind of going, right, this is where the hard work kicks in.
Everyone goes into meltdown mode. So it's actually like to give you, a few different tips and tricks along the way just to help you out. So use those resources.
Yeah, totally. Easy, done. Well, thank you both so much for sharing the afternoon with me and with everybody who's watching or has been watching. It's been really valuable to have you both on. So I will put all of your resources and contact details for both Kelly and Britt in the contacts. Make sure to stay tuned, because we've got other health professionals talking to you during the week, and make sure to check out our upcoming interactive webinars and everything that we've got going on with these guys. They're going to be joining us a bit later in the year as well to delve into some different topics a bit more. So we're excited about that. And yeah, thanks for coming on again, guys.
Thanks for having us.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.